Hello students, welcome. Today we are covering a very important topic for all the international students in Canada. We're going to talk about the post-graduation work permit or PGWP along with its recent changes and how things like study gaps, private to public college transfers could affect your eligibility. So if you're hoping to stay and work in Canada after graduation, keep watching. First things first, let's talk about what PGWP is and why it is so important for international students. The PGWP or post graduation work permit allows graduates from certain Canadian institutions to work and live in Canada. This permit is open, which means you have the ability and freedom to work, stay anywhere in Canada. And here's the best part, work experience gained in a PGWP can make you eligible for permanent residency in Canada. So, if you're thinking about building a future here, a PGWP is often the first step. The PGWP isn't available for everyone, and to be eligible for it, there are a few rules and regulations that you need to be mindful of. You need to have graduated from a designated learning institution, or popularly known as DLI, with an eligible program that's at least 8 months long. You can check whether a school or college is a DLI by visiting Government of Canada's list of DLIs on their official website. You can find the link of the website in the description below. Also, you must have maintained a full-time student status during your studies, with some exceptions for the final semesters. Importantly, you need to apply for your PGWP within 180 days of receiving your final marks. Missing this window can make you ineligible, so it's important to plan ahead. If you plan to apply for a PGWP after graduation, let's go through the important requirements for your eligibility. As of the recent updates, not all programs qualify for a PGWP, even if they are from a DLI. For example, programs that are completely online or part-time may not make you eligible. At least 50% of your program must be completed in class in Canada to qualify for a PGWP. Additionally, there are certain fields of study that are being prioritized. If your program is in areas like healthcare, STEM, or skilled trades, your chances of qualifying for PGWP are much higher. So let's check what makes you eligible for a PGWP. First, graduation from an eligible DLI program. You must complete a program of study from a DLI that is PGWP eligible. Not all programs in the DLIs qualify for a PGWP, so check the program's eligibility before enrolling. Second, program duration. If your program is 8 months to 2 years long, PGWP validity matches the length of your study program. Now, if your program is 2 years or longer, you may be eligible for a PGWP that is valid up to 3 years. If you have done 2 eligible programs back to back, you may combine their lengths when you are applying for PGWP. For example, if you have done 2 one-year study programs in Canada, which are completely eligible for a PGWP, then you may qualify for a 2-year PGWP. Third, you must have a full-time student status. That is, you must have a full-time enrollment throughout your program, except for the final term, which can be part-time if all other requirements are met. Breaks or gaps in your studies may affect your eligibility issues unless they are officially approved. Fourth, completion of program. You must have successfully completed and received the confirmation. For example, a transcript or an official letter from your college that details that you have met the requirements of completion of the program. The program must lead to a degree, diploma, or a certificate. Fifth, the application deadline. It is very important to know that you should apply for a PGWP within 180 days of your program completion. You should also ensure that your study permit has been valid at some point during those 180 days. Sixth, institutional transition. If you have transferred from a one DLI to another, you must ensure that both the institutions and the programs meet PGWP eligibility. Now let's also talk about what makes you not eligible for a PGWP. If your program is shorter than 8 months. Second, distance learning. So if you have done your program entirely online or outside of Canada, you might not be eligible. Third, graduates of private colleges in some provinces may not qualify for a PGWP program unless it is explicitly mentioned. Fourth, if you have already got a PGWP, you are not eligible to get a second one. Now let's move on to study permits. If you are completing graduation, your study permit may be expiring soon. Let's go deeper into the rules and regulations regarding your study permit extension. Apply at least 30 days before your current study permit expires. Missing this deadline could leave you without legal status to stay in Canada and study there. It will affect everything, including your ability to study or even your PGWP eligibility. You can stay in Canada under implied status while your study permit extension application is being processed. Now let's talk about what makes you eligible for a study permit extension. Number one is enrollment at a designated learning institution or DLI. You must be enrolled at a DLI and actively pursuing studies. You must show proof of funds. You must demonstrate that you can pay for tuition, living expenses, and return transportation. Number three, you should have a valid transport. Your study permit extension cannot exceed the validity of your current passport. Fourth, compliance with the current permit conditions. Show that you have adhered to the conditions of your existing permit. For example, working within your authorized limits. There are various documentations and applications that are required for a study permit application, for which we recommend you to take help of a registered immigration consultant to avoid any mistakes in your application process. Now, let's talk about study gaps. These can sometimes be unavoidable, but it's important to understand how they might affect your PGWP eligibility. A study gap is any time during your entire program when you were not actively studying, and if it is unauthorized or too long, it can impact your application for PGWP. Let's look into the types of study gaps and how they affect us and their probable resolution. Number one, permitted gaps. Canada allows some breaks during the studies, such as scheduled breaks, for example, summer or winter vacations, official leaves approved by the institution, for example, for medical reasons, family emergencies, etc. Second, excessive or unapproved gaps. Prolonged or unapproved absences without a valid reason may lead to a loss of your actively pursuing study status, which will make you ineligible for a PGWP. If you have issues in showing continuity of studies in your attendance or enrollment records are inconsistent, that also is considered as an unapproved study gap. Also, it is very important to note, if you're working during an unapproved gap, then it makes you ineligible for the PGWP program because it affects and violates your study permit conditions. How to justify a gap? For a study gap to not affect your PGWP eligibility, it must be clearly documented and explained. And also, it should be consistent with your study permit conditions. Fifth, if you are transitioning between programs and have a study gap, the transition period should be reasonable. Typically, it should be around 150 days or less. You should remain enrolled or apply for a new study permit application for the next program. Some tips to avoid PGWP issues due to the study gaps. 1. Stay enrolled and actively pursue study throughout your program. 2. Notify your school and immigration authorities about any prolonged absence. Third, keep all records of approved leaves or transitions between institutions. Many students in Canada start at private colleges due to any reasons, but later want to transfer to a public college or institution to qualify for a PGWP. Now, why that is? Because generally only graduates from these public colleges or universities and some specific private programs are eligible for a PGWP. Transferring can improve your eligibility, but it's not always straightforward. Let's look into the important points to consider when planning for a transfer of college. Number one, PGWP eligibility. Most private colleges in Canada do not make you eligible for a PGWP. Programs at a public college are typically PGWP eligible and enhance your post-study work opportunities. Ensure that the private college and the public college both are designated learning institutions and confirm the eligibility for your new program. Second, transition timeline. You must transfer within 150 days to maintain your status as an international student. During the transition, you cannot work unless you are enrolled at a study program. You should also be mindful that the transition time from your current to your new college should not be long. A long gap in this transition can affect your eligibility to work or stay in Canada. Third, update your study permit. According to recent updates, if you're planning to transfer schools, you must apply for a new study permit before switching to your designated learning institution. Notify IRCC about the change in your institution using the DLI portal. Fourth, credit transfer. Check with the public college if they accept credit transfers from your private college to avoid repeating courses. Also provide detailed transcripts and course descriptions to facilitate the credit evaluation process. Fifth, financial implications. Public colleges might have a different tuition fees. Ensure that you can demonstrate sufficient funds to cover the tuition and living costs for the new program, as it may be reviewed during your transfer process. Sixth, work authorization. International students in Canada can now work 24 hours per week off campus while studying classes. If the private college is not PGWP eligible, working off campus while studying there could violate your permit conditions and affect future applications. 7. Supporting documentation. Maintain all documents related to your transfer, including acceptance letter from the public college, enrollment confirmation and transcripts from the private college, proof of financial sufficiency for the new program. Eighth, now this is very important. You should seek expert advice. Consult both the private and public colleges advisors to ensure that your new program and transfer aligns with your career and academic goals. Also, take help of a registered immigration consultant to transfer between the colleges so that your future is secured. As of recent updates, there are also new language proficiency standards that need to be met if you're planning to apply for a PGWP. Now, this standard depends on your program level. For example, most university level graduates need a CLB score of 7 or above. College level students, on the other hand, may need a CLB score of 5. If English or French isn't your first language, make sure you're clear on those requirements before you apply, as failing to meet them might lead to a rejected application. The PGWP is a fantastic opportunity for international students to gain work experience in Canada, but understanding the rules and staying updated on the changes is essential. From visa extensions to study gaps and private to public college transfers, each of these factors impact your Canadian future. Take the time to plan ahead, gather the right information, and make sure you're setting up yourself for success. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Acme Visa Solutions. Have questions or need help with your PGWP eligibility? Comment below. Our registered immigration experts will get in touch with you.